Hi, welcome back to Smoking Cheltenham. How you doing? Hope you're good. Hope you had a good week, good weekend. Hope you made a little bit. Um, yeah, I had a bit of a week last week. I had. Do you know? Just had a lot of stuff going on, things going wrong outside my racing bubble. We all have weeks like that, don't we? I mean, nobody died or anything like that, but yeah, just had a lot of stuff, and yeah, it was just one of them weeks. I mean, even like I went to do the video on Friday. Um, I'd just been having a few issues with laptop charging up, and I had a little window of time to do it in, and I'd left it on charge. It hadn't charged, so I had to leave it. And then, so yeah, that's why you didn't get one on Friday. And typically, I had one bet, just one bet for you this weekend, and that was Joyous, on Saturday. But I did give the horse a strong mention at the end of my last video, so maybe you won anyway. It's towards the front of the market. I'm sure plenty backed it. But yeah, just that sort of week. Um, and then even in the racing bubble, it's really excited to see Sergio. He's like a team captain for Cheltenham, isn't he? And then all that happened, like Jesus, yeah, it just one of them weeks. I say no one died. Okay, and then yeah, I mean, you look at that poor lad, Mikey O'Sullivan. He's in a bad way in intensive care. That kind of puts things into perspective, doesn't it? We wish him all the best. Hopefully, he can make a recovery. Yeah. At the end of the day, this is just a game, isn't it? It is. We maybe take it a bit too seriously sometimes. It is just a game. Important to remember that perspective. So yeah, you'll need your flask today. So we're missing that one last week. We've got a bit more to catch up on now, and we've got the ante-post roundup. Got a bet or two, maybe. I don't know. We'll just see how I feel, and yeah, we'll just have a chat about some of these races. At Cheltenham. Just give my thoughts on them, where we are. Okay. So we'll try and rattle through the week fairly quick. But you know what I'm like, but I'll try and get it done fairly quick, not going into so much depth in the races and that themselves. So we'll go to Monday, Punchestown. The going were heavy. 2 mile maiden hurdle, Ethical Diamond beat Canesburg 10. Yeah, Lead came home impressively from 2 out. Interesting thing about this one is it was that magic fifth run, weren't it? Over hurdles. Willie spoke highly of him last year, but ultimately were disappointing. He would beat over 50 lengths in the Triumph behind Madgeborough. He's only 5 though, and may yet be about to live up to that high opinion his trainer had of him. This season he drifted like a barge on his seasonal return at Christmas time, and he finished well beaten. Looked much more like it here. Good ground was said to be important to him, but this did come on heavy. He's rated around 136, 137, I think, and he looks almost nailed on to be like an interesting contender for the county on the day. Obviously, a race Willie's got a great record in. His best price 12-1 non-runner no bet. You can get a bit of 16s ante-post. This week I've had almost a scattergun approach to some of these races at Cheltenham, just trying to get on before the prices come in, because it's mad, isn't it? But you've got to be careful how you play. The key to it really is having one of these 365 accounts. That's a big help with the cash outs, and you're getting the non-runner no bet as well. So I had a little on him but I can get out of these. You know, you can trade them back as well, so I can get out of them easy enough. So I can't really just put them up here. But he'd be interesting. He certainly, if Pete Townsend rides him, you know, yeah, he's going to be in the first couple in the market, isn't he? But Willie's got plenty of options for that, and it may not be his main one yet. So we'll have to see. But he certainly should be on anyone's shortlist for that race, I'd suggest. Okay. Wednesday Fairyhouse, heavy on the hurdles track. The chase was soft to heavy places. 3 mile rated chase, yeah, this was an interesting race. Samajest beat Affordale Fury 3/4 of a length here. It was a good race between the two. Affordale Fury looked to have the measure of his rival, but made a real mess of the last, didn't he, you know? And that allowed Samajest to take advantage. Not sure Samajest wanted to win this, to be honest, but they were kind of... he couldn't get out of it after the last. Yeah, he looks to be a big contender for 3-6 or handicap or the Kim Muir. The 137 here, he's got up a few. You know, probably get in, I suppose, but it depends what side at bed handicappers getting out of, doesn't it? It's a bad system, isn't it? It is. I mean, it's just like Russian roulette with these marks the Irish get. So we'll see. But yeah, certainly looks interesting for them races. Affordale Fury, you know, this was an encouraging return from injury. I read somewhere that trainer O'Meady said it was just like a bone injury. So I don't think that should harm him like long term. Yeah, he should recover from that fine. He came runner up in the Albert Bartlett, didn't he? He looked a really promising horse. We liked him, didn't we? He could be going kind of Bobby Joe Irish national, and I'd say he'd be interesting in an Irish national. He'd be a contender there, definitely. The 2 mile maiden hurdle, Caroline Bamboo, beat Place de la Nation just over 2 here. She jumped much better than on a seasonal debut and was in, you know, well in control when Swing Davis came down 2 out. Value for more than the winning margin, this, you know. She were eased down after the last, whilst the runner-up were like strongly ridden towards the line. Yeah, she's improved plenty from her debut. She's learnt a lot from that, and I'd say she looks a big player in the Mares Novice hurdle. You couldn't be putting a line through her. Willie did say in a recent stable talk Maureen was the number one horse for the Mares Novice hurdle, but that was before this girl ran, so, you know, I maybe wouldn't take that as red light, you know. Maybe, but, you know, maybe not. She's definitely a contender anyway. Then we'll go to the weekend, and Saturday at Naas. The chase course was soft, the hurdles were soft, yielding to soft in places, I think. 2 mile rated hurdle, yeah, this is the Boodles race, isn't it? I think 3 winners have come from this, for the Boodles, I think. And last year's winner were non-runner, you know, were declared here and Lark in the morning and didn't run. So it's, yeah, you know, it's a race to note, this. Bacchanalian beat Machia and Neck, and them two were clear. Bacchanalian were turned out quickly after getting beat just over 10 in the Grade 1 at the DRF last week. It led and always looked in control of the race here, but was all out in the end, told on from Machia at the line. Machia sort of, yeah, sketchy jumping. She's kind of got cut off at one bit and lost a bit of ground. I'm not. It was much better than a debut for Willie. I'm not quite sure what to make of this, But yeah, it's a race to know, and them contenders, these two would have to be respected, I'd say, if turning up for Boodles. Right, 2 mile, 2.5 maiden hurdle, lovely hurling. This is a nice horse. Beat Auto Portrait 4. It were eventful, this, weren't it? It were. If you've not seen this race, it's definitely worth a watch. Lovely hurling, settled in mid-division. Did well not to get brought down by a fall of 4 out. And soon after that, just kind of sluiced through the pack, Shortly after turning in road to home, he kind of ducked out to his left and jumped what is called a spur. That's something I've learned. Yeah, it just looked like a little, them show jumping fences? It looked like one of them, like just a little one of them. Jumped it well, he'll have no trouble with the fences next season. But yeah, lovely hurling, took it up cantering between the last two and won as he liked. Looked different class to these, jumped great, looks a cracking prospect. He does, he's one to follow. Not entered for the Cheltenham Novices, but yeah, he looks nice, he does. 2 mile listed Opera Hat. Yeah, Dino Blueby, Allegory Devassi and Neck here, I think. They finish wide apart on either side of the track here. Yeah, Dino, we're giving Allegory 6 here. They'll be off levels at Cheltenham, I think. Hard to weigh up this, it is really, because it was just like a 2-horse race. But it kind of looked decent to the eye, and on the face of it, this was much better from Dino Blue. The trip on the ground stretched to last year, but should be a big contender there. And Allegory, I don't know about Allegory, I couldn't have my money on her. I couldn't opt for Cheltenham now, but you never know. She has kind of put like 2 good runs together now in a row, and I think Willie did mention in a stable tour they're doing things differently with her, so maybe she's not one to totally cross out, but yeah, she comes with risks attached, These mares can be a bit moody, can't they, Newbury, then, yeah, soft, good to soft places. I really like the runner Haiti Couleurs in that 3 mile handicap hurdle. He stayed on all the way to the line. Yeah, he's going to be a big player in that 3-6 novice handicap, he is, and transmission ties in closely with him, both of them, Yeah, I like Haiti Couleurs, just good, honest horse, just jumps and gallops light and runs all the way through the line. That's kind of what you want for a race like that. 2 mile class 1 handicap hurdle, yeah, Joyeuse beat Lump Sum 8 here. I thought she was really impressive, She jumped like a champion hurdler, Took this off 1-2-2. Should be really interesting for an handicap at Cheltenham, but she can't run there, can she, because of these new rules? Fucking geniuses, aren't they? Clowns. Yeah. Worth noting, it won't have gone missed that the form of that race she ran in before. I didn't mention it last time, didn't I? The 2.5 mares handicap hurdle at Cheltenham. Take No Chances finished third in that and came out and beat Cargeese. This girl came second. She's like routed these. Even the fourth horse won a little listed race at Warwick. Maybe a little fortunate, but yeah, still. The winner of that, Woodoo, would look a good contender for the Coral or the Pipe. The betting suggesting the Pipe. We'll see. Being strongly supported for the Pipe on the back of this. Unbeaten. Took that handicap off 130. I think Irish marks 136. But when they re-enter these, I'd imagine the handicap has a bit of discretion to kind of reassess the mark, and maybe he won't take too kindly to it. I don't know. You just like say it's Russian roulette with these horses. I stand to be corrected, but I'm not sure her mark is set in stone. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, you won't be surprised if she gets bumped up a bit on the back how this form's working out. The other thing to note we would do is the ground. Most of forms on decent ground. So soft ground, soft heavy could be a bit of an unknown anyway. Warwick was soft. We got here the Kingmaker went it 2 mile grade 2 novice chase. Ludlow beat Reboard a length. Mid race they went at it really fast here. It was hot the pace mid race. Ludlow came clear down the back. Understandably, it got a bit tired after the last, but kind of picked up again close home when needed. Jumped great, deserves his place in an Arkle. This Arkle looks a bit special this year, doesn't it? But these Arkles, this fella would have been winning, so he's a good contender there. And they've all got to get there, and they've got to jump, haven't they? So you couldn't be putting a line through him. But ability-wise, clearly, is a little bit behind Majbra and Sergino, But funny things happen, don't they? They do. So then yesterday, Sunday, Exeter, good to soft in places. 2 mile, 1.5. Agatha Christie race, yeah. Only by Night beat Kilberry Saint a length. Only by Night jumped, travelled, looked to tire a little, after the last, but maybe just sort of idling. Hard to say. Did seem to pick up again close home. She had a few question marks for this mare's chase. One was the travelling. Tick. One was, would she hold the form? Tick. The other one, will she stay? Question mark still. I wouldn't be sure. I wouldn't. She may do, but we just don't know, do we? Watching her here, the visuals, I'd be a little doubtful. Well, come down to the ground for a bit. I've said before plenty of times that takes some getting, that trip in the mare's chase. I think you need to stay further than the 2, is it 2, 4.5? You want to nearly stay 3 mile for that race, I think, particularly if the ground comes up testing. I just wouldn't know there. I mean, the Arkle were mooted as well, and she looks to have loads of pace and gears, like we said, hot Arkle, but yeah. So I'm just not sure about the trip for her. We get there on the day and it's good to soft and she's there. I could well like take a chance, you know. But a lot of these races at Cheltenham at this stage, what we 4 or 5 weeks out, so you just the ground's going to be key to a lot of it. It is. I'd be a bit wary now taking single figures about anything that the ground could have a big factor for, like, you know. Fun. She's not the biggest, is she? She jumped like a bunny first time up. Not quite so. Yeah, I thought, I don't know if these Exeter fences are maybe a little bigger. You know, it's a good jumping track in Exeter, but she just looked to struggle a little bit here. She may be better up in trip, you know, with a bit more cut in the ground. Take her time a little bit more. Yeah. Navan, soft to heavy, 3 mile, 10 up novice chase, better days ahead, beats Stella Storia neck. For 95% of the race, you'd have been very happy with better days ahead. Jumped fine, travelled well, you know, looked to be in control of the race, but didn't find much after the last. Stella Story came with a fair old rattle there, and, you know, he got tight close home. Gordon said after he'd be better with something to chase and doesn't do much in front. So maybe, I guess he should know. I were getting sweet on him. I were getting quite sweet on him for this Browns, but being honest, I'm just a little bit less sweet on him now after this. Albeit he's still got his chance, you know. You'd have just liked to see him go away and win this by 5, wouldn't you? And it looked like it were going to happen, but then it didn't. So, but maybe that's true what Gordon said, you know. It came with a fair old rattle last year in that pipe. That's why I kind of like him for the Browns, you know, looking back on that. I liked how he came under pressure and then really sort of found up the hill. So, yeah, maybe he's better with a lead. He's got his chance. Stella Story's jumping was again very sketchy early, but he did kind of get a bit better as the race went on, and he were giving the winner £5. His jumping is a worry for this Browns, hence the stayers hurdle entry. But if it came up heavy, you know, last year's sort of Bartlett hero, he'd be a very lively contender, I'd say he would. And then the last race to cover, 2 mile bumper, Coco Cabana beat Burrows Drive 5. They went steady early, but picked up the pace a bit around halfway. Coco Cabana did this well, I thought, travelled into it nicely, looked really green when kind of asked for his effort. But I think Patrick were keen to see what were under the bonnet here and asked him a bit, and he stretched nicely clear. Yeah, he'll learn plenty from this. You know, I said, didn't I, Willie might pull a few rabbits out yet. Maybe this isn't a full-on rabbit, but I'd say it's like a large ferret or something anyway, like, you know, at least. The form don't look too bad. The runner-up finished third to 6.5 in Colcannon in that Punchestown bumper. That's worked out nice. The third ran second to He Can't Dance. This was his first run for Gordon, like he bought him after that race. Yeah, as I said, should improve plenty for this. And I'd say as things stand right now, this will probably be Patrick's ride at Cheltenham, because he can't ride the mare, can he, you know. Yeah, another one had a bit of change on after 10s. It's sort of 8s now, not running no bet. Right then, performance of the week. I gave this Joyeuse, yeah, you know, I thought this was impressive. She was only off 1-2-2, but that jumping fast and slick, that she looks about going places. Plenty more to come. A shame we won't get to see her at Cheltenham. But yeah, she's one to keep on side. I'd say number 2 I gave to Lovely Hurling. I did. Not entered for the Cheltenham Novices this, but I'd say one to look out for the other spring festivals. Big scope he saw. He's an exciting prospect. He made quite an impression on me. He's nice, he is. Third, I gave to Caroline Bamboo. Yeah. Looked to learn plenty from Hurdle's debut. She jumped much better here. And I'd say she's a serious player for that mare's novice hurdle. Now, I did all this and I forgot about Jello completely. So it's only fair I gave him a mention. I kind of forgot him. I think it's good. That race looked shocking and I had no interest in it at all beforehand. So I just sort of forgot about that. But he were impressive, weren't he? And he's a contender for the Ryanair. He is. If you wanted to put him in them 3, that's fine. I just kind of forgot about him. It looked a horrible race though, didn't it? It did. Few bits there. We'll do ante-post roundup, and have a bit of a ramble then. Okay. Yeah. And I might even talk a little bit about some of these races that we haven't got bets in. But this is the state of play as it is. Right. If we've had the non-runner no bet, I'll quote the best non-runner no bet price that a half reputable bookies like. And if it's an ante-post price, I'll quote the best ante-post price. Okay. So Supreme, we've got 7 points, Kopek de boards, 5-4 non-runner no bet. Evens now best price. Salvador Monday, we've got 2 points at 12s and a point at 10s. He's 13-2 best now. Arkle, we've got Sergino, 5 points at 5s. He's 10-11 now. 3 points on Masborough, 9-4 non-runner no bet. 6-4 non-runner no bet now. Mares, we got Jade de Grugy, 2 points at 20s. She's now 8s. And July Flower, a point at 20s. She's now 5s. Champion Hurdle, we got just 3 points on Lossiemouth at 14s. She's into 5s. Turners, we just got 3 points, Kawabunga at 10-1 non-runner no bet. He's 8-1 non-runner no bet now. Browns, we've still got a few standing here. We've got Better Days Ahead, 2 points at 25s. He's best price 10s. Croke Park, a point each way at 66s. It's 10s. And Cade de Bourbon, a point at 33s, a point at 25s, 20s. Coral Cup, we just got a point on James's Gate at 12s, still there. Champion Chase, we've got 5 points Gaelic Warrior at 5s. You can get 7s now in one place. And oh yeah, I forgot about that. So we've got a point each way and Founder 50 at 50s. I think he's 40s best now. In the bumper, we've got 4 points Bambino Fever, 6-1 non-runner no bet, still that. Mares Novice, 6.5. We've got 2 points at 7s and 3 points at 7-2 non-runner no bet. Best price 7-2 non-runner no bet. The Albert Bartlett, we've got a point at 33s on Sounds Victorious, and that point each way at 40s, first 4. We'll come back to that. You can get 50s because they're ante-post. Gold Cup, a point on Corbett's Cross at 20s, now 14s, and a point on Monty's Start 20s, now 16s. Right, so we've got 55 on. The bin, we've got 37. Yeah, so we've got 92 points in total there. The only other ante-post bet we've got running is I Know the Way You're Thinking at 33s for the National. He's near enough favourite now into sort of 12s, you know. Right, so that's all that. Right then. Yeah, so we've got to get 92 points back to get our money back there. Right, I'll be honest with you about this. Right, you know, last year, like I said all year, I had no idea if we'd make a profit doing it the way we're doing it. I do think this is a hard way to do it, like, you know. So we've got no cashing outs, we've got no trading backs, we're being kind of semi-aggressive with it, we're playing it all year round. And it's a lot harder now than it used to be, and anyone will tell you that it is. You know, things change. Really, the way to play this ante-post game now is you want a 365 account, you do, and a couple others, and 365 especially, you know, and you can use all them sort of cashing outs and stuff, and it helps you a lot. It's a big help, you know. You can back all sorts of horses and cash them out, and you end up on some nice prices. Like, you can be a bit more carefree with it, like, you know, trying to be a bit more careful doing it this way. So, like, that's all the disclaimers out. But honestly, you know, I think this is quite hard, and if we can get most of our money back, I'd say we've done well. Now, last year at this stage, I felt fairly kind of confident about it. You know, I might not have said so much, but inside I thought, yeah, we've got this. But we'd got like, it don't always work out how you think it's going to work out, does it? Some of the ones you think, this looks good, will let you down, and some of the ones you kind of don't fancy so much. I mean, one with a bin, and it still won for us, like, you know. But even so, you get a certain amount of confidence depending what you've got, don't you? And last year we'd got on Lossiemouth at a nice sort of price. She odds on. She looked like a good thing, didn't she? And the others as well. That the Mare's Novice Hurdle, although it didn't turn out for us, I thought we had that by the nuts, like, you know, with Jay DeGrugy and Bright Days. We haven't got so much like that this year. Sergino's like a captain, isn't he? And then all this started happening. You know, inside he was the one that were thinking, yeah, 30 points back, second race. I've kind of, yeah, that's fucking one for me. Like, you know, I like Madgeborough, I do, but this Sergino, well. But now that wouldn't be, you wouldn't even be so confident there, would you now? I think he'll be all right, but it's not ideal, is it? You know, I'm glad we got that cover bet on Madgeborough when we did anyway. Put it that way. So yeah, we've got some nice prices and some nice possibilities, but when I look at it, I'm like, well, you know, I think Kopek wins. I think Sergino or Madgeborough win. I think Sergino. And then it gets a bit more like tricky, like, so I'm just a bit not as confident this year anyway, you know. But we'll see. I'll do my best anyway, and we'll see where we go. It's been fun anyway, hasn't it? So it's not all about this sheet at the end of the season. We found a few nice winners along the way, haven't we? You know, and yeah, well, you don't know. We'll see how we go. But in all honesty, I'm not quite so confident as last year, to be honest. Just how things have panned out. But we'll go through all these races a bit more now and have a chat, and I'll maybe, you know. So I'll get this just help me a bit. Just to look at the races on odds checker, like. Okay, so yeah, we'll start with the Supreme. Kopech wins this. He does. Like I say, the way he did it, I think he got up to 33, but he's doing it in a high canter, you know. Yeah, he's a bit fractious, but he kind of boiled over there, didn't he? And he still did that. So, Jesus, if they do keep a lid on him, whoa, you know. Put it this way, I always like once a year, every Cheltenham, I'll have a look at like the biggest winning distance race. I've considered this. I have. You know, that's how good I think he is. He could just absolutely demolish these. You know, he'd be one of the most confident things. Uh, you know, yeah, I think he just goes wins this. I do. I think he's way better than everything else in here. He is. I think anyway. So you know, all right, we're not on at fancy prices. You know, apologies for that, but we're on him, and I think he'll get most punters off to a good start here. Like you know, um, yeah, he looks a bit special. He does. The Arkle, yeah. Do you know? I don't know if he's going to get a run into him or not. He might go there off one run. I mean, he's on about that Pendle, isn't he? 2.5. It's a shame. That race would have been ideal for him Saturday. You know, Nicky wanted to. He'd have got a nice lead round and just won like impressively. You can look at it positively because you're getting a price on him now. You know, I mean, in all honesty, this horse is going to win the champion chase next year. He would. He's just got to stay in one piece. You know, to to be honest, I think he'd win it this year. I think you know, I think he'd have John Bon. I do. He's that good. Um, Horses have gone there. Western Wars. The Well Chief, you know, after one run and won an Arkle, you know. I think we'll be all right. I tell you, one thing I did think, this is a bit mad, but it's just all season I've thought Constitutional. He's just got to get there, hasn't he? But you know, beginning of the season, I'd say that odds against he's going to get there, and this is the time. If the wheels fall off, it's going to be in this next sort of 4 or 5 weeks, isn't it? If the wheels fall off him and he don't get another run into Sergino, could he pull the rug from under his ear and send it to Champion Hurdle? You know, that's the thought that crossed my mind, and I had a little bit of change. Literally, a bit. I had a fiver on him for Champion Hurdle at like 50 to 1 or something on Betfair. I mean, non-runner no bet is threes. I don't really want to back him at threes, even with a non-runner no bet, because I'm not sure I'd fancy him to win it. Although he would have a chance, wouldn't he? You know, I just had the fiver at the 50s, and if that scenario happened, you can trade that fiver back at 4 to 1 or something, can't you? You know, and I don't mind losing the fiver just for my peace of mind, like you know. Hopefully that won't happen, but it won't be the maddest thing that ever happened, you know. I'd say if he didn't have Constitutional there and he'd only had one run over fences, I think Nicky would be tempted to go champion, you know. So that's one thing I thought anyway. The race itself, yeah, I like Sergino. I love love both horses. It's a cracking race, isn't it? I'd say the softer the ground, the better chance Majbur's got. But I do think this Sergino, you look at him, he's just got to stay in one piece, and I think he's going to win a couple of champion chases, like, you know. Majby, you can see him staying further. He might ultimately end up in trip, like, but he's not slow. He's not. It'll be a cracking race, it will, and I'm glad to have the cover bet on Majby there, you know. But in my heart of hearts, I just think Sergino wins this. I do. So just fingers crossed it doesn't get any worse. Like, you know, it started with a little cut, then it got infected. It's like, well, he's going to wake up tomorrow with like 3 legs or something. Like, you know, he's a wizard with walking wounded, Henderson. He always has things like this, and he seems to sort them out. So we'll see. It doesn't sound like the thing's much. It's just this getting another run into him. You know, none of it's ideal. You know, trust Nicky to get it right. He knows far more than us, doesn't he? If we go straight there, that I say it's not ideal, is it? You'd prefer him to have another run, but you might be getting kind of around even money for him. Whereas if he'd have run Saturday, you could be looking at like 2 to 5 or something. So there is that way to look at it as well. But anyway, yeah, cool. So we kind of started off there pretty solid, and then it kind of goes downhill from here. Okay. Let's have a look. We'll have a chat about these. Right, the Mare's Hurdle then. Yeah, that's before the champion now, isn't it? Right, we got a couple of points on Jade Agrugi at 20s and a point on July Flower at 20s. I like the bets. I wouldn't be, you know, you wouldn't be cashing them out, would you? Like, you know, it does revolve around the big 2 mares, doesn't it? A bit. Brighter Days Ahead and Lossiemouth. Now, first of all, another thought. I have these thoughts. I thought it was a bit strange, really, how Gordon came out, didn't he, and said, do you know, right, just give me a minute. I'll be back in a minute. I do apologise. Production values. Awesome. Right, I'll be back in a minute. There you go, back again. I'm sure I could probably pause it, but I'm just worried because sometimes I press that button once and I have to do it in 2 parts. But yeah, sorry about that. Just tanked my coffee there, and I didn't want to rush through it. I wanted, you know, right. You know what I'm like, don't you? Expect these things. Right, yeah. Bright Days Ed, I just thought it was funny what Gordon said last week about they were going to announce it like a week before Cheltenham. Why would they say that? You know, I always wonder these things. You always question everything like, you know, why would they say that? They said, oh, it's not fair to let people wait. Are they bothered about that really? You know, these Ryanair boys and that, and I don't think they've got us in, you know, I don't think they're doing it for us. So that didn't ring true to me. Now, I think they're playing games here a little bit. I'm thinking, why would you say that? I think she's going to go mares, and I didn't think she would, but that made me think she was going to go mares. Because to me, the only reason they'd say that would be to kind of force Lossiemouth into the champion hurdle, because I don't think they want to take Lossiemouth on, you know. They don't want to take Lossiemouth on in the mares anyway, certainly. I'm sure they don't. So I think that's the only reason they'd say that. It's like if they get in there first, that removes that sort of penalty kick option for Lossiemouth, doesn't it? So they know they won't have to race her in the mares. I think so. Because if they said a week before she's going for the champion, well, I guess that'd get rid of Lossiemouth, maybe into the mares. Maybe that's what they're thinking as well. Maybe they're thinking either way. So maybe it doesn't mean she's coming mares. Maybe it doesn't. But I think either way they're trying to get rid of Lossiemouth, you know, trying to remove that one obstacle there. These other obstacles, clearly, especially if she goes constitutional in champion hurdle. But yeah, I think they're playing a bit of a game there, and it made me think she might be more likely to come airs. But then again, yeah, sort of talking about it here, maybe not. It's just either way, it might remove Lossiemouth out of the equation from. I mean, for us, I'll say I love these bets. If the big two don't run here, yeah, you know, July Flower's got a great chance. Things are looking better with Jade DeCruz. I'd kind of written her off, but I think we should see her in the Quadvega hurdle. Is that Punchestown this Sunday? I think it is. So she could come right into this, like, you know. Yeah. Even at this stage, these races are quite cloudy, aren't they? You don't know what's definitely running. Without the big two, I like her bets. You know, Lossiemouth is in here. Bingham. I'd be a bit more against the crowd, I suppose, in that I'd have a little bit of hope they might beat Bright Days Ed, and I know most people would be like, oh, no, I mean, but that's purely just on that niggle thing I said a while back now, you know, brother Marty Potter didn't like Cheltenham, Caldwell Potter didn't seem to like Cheltenham, and she got beat at Cheltenham, and I know they had that excuse, but like I said before, it just plays on my mind a little bit anyway, you know. Whereas Lossiemouth 3 from 3 at Cheltenham, she'd beat him, she would. So how I'd see it anyway. Just tell you my thoughts. You might think I'm talking rubbish, and some of it most probably is, like, you know. Champion hurdle then, yeah, we just got the 3 points on Lozzie at 14s. Wow. We'll start at the beginning then, Constitutional. Like I said, I thought he'd I'd have made him odds against to get here beginning of the season, and yeah, not wishing any harm on the horse, but when you're playing the ante-post thing, you got an horse like that at the front of the market, and you just have to take him on. I think, but Nicky is brilliant, isn't he? He is, and he's getting there. He's got him out twice. I do like how he got him out again. I'm not quite sure he's the same horse. I'm still kind of half expecting it all to fall apart for him, but like I say, I'm not wishing any harm on him. And yeah, if he gets him there on the day, he's the horse, isn't he? And I'd say the best sort of 2 mile hurdler I've ever seen on his day. He's just rapid, isn't he? He's something else. He is. Yeah, and he don't even have to be 100% of what he were to win it. I'd say 90% plus. That sort of thing. You can't put exactly. You know what I mean? He can be a little bit not quite as good as he were and still win this. I'd say. He's that good. But again, another race that's a bit cloudy, isn't it? We don't know. He's got to get there. We don't know if Bright Days Ed's going to be here. We don't know if Lozymal's going to be here. All I would say is I can't have State Man winning it. State Man don't win this. He doesn't. If any of them front three run, I think they'd beat him. Bright Days Ahead, yeah, I mean, that was just something else last time, weren't it? It were that performance. Wow. That's the best hurdles performance of the season by some way. Like I say, just that little small niggle. It might be nothing, Lozymal, I still like Lozymal, I do, I like Lozymal, but that fall last time, I mean, she stands up, she beats State Man, and what is she now? 5-2, it's just how that affects her mentally, if at all, it's just, that's the only thing. If she's fine, if they school her this week and she's just like she normally is and it's not bothered her, then yeah, I'd still think she's got a good chance in this. I do. I know. Looking back in hindsight now, Constitutional's building and building, isn't he? Like I said, I didn't know he would at the time, but he came out again. So yeah, he's going to come on a ton, really, from what he did at Christmas. But so will this girl, She loves Cheltenham. I'd give her a good shout. I wouldn't be confident, but I'd give her a good shout. Yeah, I would. I've not lost faith in her. The jockey's interesting, though, isn't it? She don't. I mean, Willie's saying State Man. Paul will be on him. Paul picks State Man. So, and I guess they should know, shouldn't they? Better than me, I just don't believe it. I'd have him a match bet. Lozymal will finish in front of State Man in this if they both run and I don't care. I mean, Danny's angling for the ride, isn't he? He rode her last time. He's coming out and saying he thinks she can beat Constitutional. So I think he's after keeping the ride. A bit of politics there, I guess, because he knows Patrick's there, isn't he? I don't know. She could have Patrick on him. She wins this, beats Constitutional with Patrick on her. She's a good horse. But yeah, I've not lost faith in him. We got a nice ticket there. We got room to play as well. We've only had 3 points on the race, you know. But yeah, that's my thoughts at the minute anyway. I'm still quite sweet on Lossiemouth, but you know, I am. The Fred Winter, horrible race. It shouldn't be here. I mean, Jesus. Horrible race. It's carnage in this. I mean, they're saying they're all for safety and stuff. Every year there's some, yeah, horses fall, bring them down, and not keen on this race, as you might have guessed. With cheers there. I don't know. I don't know that race yet. The National and Novice Chase, yeah, this 3 mile 6 handicap. I keep banking on about it, but you've got a 3 mile handicap chase, the William Hill one, whatever it is. You got the Kim Muir 3 mile 2.5 handicap chase, and you got a 3 mile 6 handicap chase. Too much crossover there. One of them has to go. I don't know what they've done. Now is the hour. We liked him, but we don't like the price. Heighty colours, transmission. I'll be honest with you, like I said before, I've been like spraying a few bets about. I had a little bit on Heighty colours and transmission, you know, non-runner, no bet. They may end up better handicap than the Irish horses, you know, the way the handicap is sort of working at the minute. I did like that race last time. I did. It was a good time. I think the handicap has been very kind on them. You know, Heighty Colours went up 5. I think transmission maybe went up 2. I like Heighty Colours. Just jumps, gallops, honest horse. Looks like stay forever. Cracking chance. And transmission. I like how Mulholland prepped him in that Cleve hurdle, you know. Like I say, did that with the Drury's nephew. Clearly been a plan, this. I like them too, and I have backed them. They may not be my only bets in the race, but like I say, and you can have a little bit more on than you like if you think the prices are alright, because you get to trade back, or you know, you can at the very least sort of part cash out and stuff. It's playing them games, isn't it, you know. But I do like Now Is the Hour, but I find it hard to play at the price. Out to colours and transmission. They've got the track form as well, and I think it just may end up. I just think the handicap has given them a good chance, you know. But there'll be others coming into that. I did say, didn't I, at the beginning of the season, if you give me 6-1 on Gavin, Cromwell, or Gordon Elliott taking it out, I'd take that. And 6-1 now looks a good price. Is this now in the hour's like half that price on its own, and Gordon will have something there as well. Right, the Turners, yeah. Women in our into this, weren't they? We've got 3 points. Kawabunga at 10s. I like that, I do. It could improve a lot for the step up in trip. I think he will, but he could easily go Supreme, but I wouldn't really fancy him for the Supreme against Kopek and even a few of the others maybe, but it's more like he's got a good level of form, and I think he could improve a lot, you know, for the extra trip. So I like that bet. A woman and I in my final demand, weren't they, if to put him up or not. Like I said, he was 9-4, and I weren't sure, and I said he'd be 7-4, and he is 7-4 now. So I dropped like half a point there. And like I said, I've covered him at kind of nicer prices. We aren't putting him up here. It don't really matter to you, does it? So I'm going to put him down here for this sheet anyway, even at the 7-4 non-runner no bet. Should I put on him a 5? We'll put him down for 5 points. I'm not mad on putting like horses up at 7-4 and stuff like that, but I'm just playing about with this sheet a bit and seeing if I can get us in profit. So he's the one to beat Final Demand, he is. So we'll put him down for 5 points now. It's 7-4 non-runner no bet. Okay, just coming up to an hour. We're rambling, aren't we? I hope you don't mind. Don't have to watch, do you? That's my only little niggle with him, that he could win an Albert Bartlett to my mind, and I'll have to get the last 10 winners of this down, but I don't think I'd have fancied anyone from Albert Bartlett. It's more like you want a Supreme, a horse that could run in a Supreme, or a horse that could run in a Turners, rather than a horse that could win in a Turners or an Albert Bartlett. That's how I see it. The chances are, though, it'll be cutting the ground. I'd say the softer the better for him, and having Paul on him is a big help as well. You'd imagine he's going to take control of this race at the top of the hill. He'll freewheel down it. I think he'll be a few lengths in front of him, and then off that bend he'll just kick and go and catch me if he can. And if it's softer ground as well, he could just drag the finish out of these. So this is generally, they kind of don't go too fast, and you want that burst of speed, but Paul's could just take this race by the scruff of the neck and make it more of a test, Okay, I mean, the one horse that did it was Faheen, who dropped back from 3 mile, but Faheen was just a freak, weren't he? Like, I mean, he won a champion hurdle. This guy's not going to be winning champion hurdles. And like I say, when you look at those Turners winners, very few of them have kind of excelled at 3 miles. Maybe Ballyburn will turn that around this year, maybe, So just a few little niggles there. The new lines in this, he's got that speed, hasn't he? I liked him all year. I just, like I said, I don't like how he peaked him for that race so they could sell him. And I don't think he's beaten a horse, but visually, yeah, you won't be putting a line through him. Cowabunga, yeah, I think has got a good level of form. Getting a very quiet ride the first day behind Kopek, but ran it was like a lovely educational run, that. And then, yeah, I like how he beat William Money, and all that form looks solid. And I think it can improve a lot for this if they go this way. The yellow clay, not for me in this. I think Albert Bartlett, he could end up there, but we'll see. He's been well back for that. But yeah, we're on now anyway. That's that race done. We're Final Demand and Cowabunga, and right. The Browns. I best quicken up a bit, aren't it? We're here all day, aren't we? Our tickets, Better Days End at 25s, Croke Park at 66s, Key de Bourbon at 33s and 25s. All nice tickets to be holding, you won't be cashing them out. So just on our ones, Croke Park, yeah, love this horse to bits. A bit concerned he left his race behind the last day. Gordon says he may be a 2.5 miler. Maybe he is, it's just the way he jumps you'd maybe think that. yeah, he'll be trying anyway, and his jumping will keep him in the race for a long time if he comes here. He could definitely hit the frame if he turns up. Better days ahead, yeah, a little bit underwhelming, weren't he, yesterday? But I won't be putting a line through him. I do like that Martin Pipe run last year for this. The way he looked beat at the bottom of the hill and came up it so strong. Yeah, maybe there's some truth in what Gordon was saying about he win his from about 4 out. He win front, weren't he? He did jump and travel nice. So he's a player here. And the other one, Cade Bourbon. Willie didn't mention him. He did this before though. He left him out. You know, he mentioned 3 like the big 2 and Lecky Watson. I'd have this fella in front of Lecky Watson. I would. The sort of form line suggests that this year too. He's a dark horse here if he turns up. You know, presume he's all right. And I know after he won last time, Willie said he'd be going straight for this. But you know, maybe he's had a knock or something we don't know about. I don't know. Yeah, he'd be a dark one here. He's totally unexposed at 3 mile and could improve hugely for it. Like I'm sure he will. Ballyburn. If you want to be with Ballyburn, I'd take the 2s now. I think at 365. That looks more than fair. Non runner no bet. I'd say the better the ground, the better chance he has. You know, on a lot of these other horses, we've got a kind of proper staying types, aren't they? If it sort of gets softer, Stellar Story, you can't leave him out of the conversation either, particularly if it comes up heavy. But unlike a good to soft, I think Ballyburn will just kind of outclass them all, to be honest. I thought it was quite impressive last time. Another race, it just revolves around the ground for me. I'm not saying Ballyburn can't win on soft or heavy, but I think, yeah, I'd be a lot more confident if they were good to soft in it for Ballyburn. I would. Yeah. Okay, we'll talk about these again some other time. Like Coral Cup. Yeah, we had that James's Gate. There's a lot of nice looking horses in this race. This is going to be competitive. James's Gate, I liked him. I love him for this. He needs that one more run. He may run at Punchestown on Sunday. I think it's that 2 mile race we've been on about a bit. He could line up there. So look out for an entry. If he runs, I'd be having a bit more on running no bell or something on him. Well, I've kind of got him nicely covered now. We've just got a point on him at 12s here. Yeah, we'll leave that race there. Woodoo would be interesting if she comes here. I meant to say Carla Conti, do you know, if Bright Days Ahead goes the Mare's Hurdle, maybe Carla Conti would come into the Coral Cup as well. Whereas if Bright Days goes Champion Hurdle, maybe Carla Conti would go Mares, and I think she's interesting as well. You know, I do say they went too quick last time and she won that pace the whole way. If you like July Flower, I think you've got to like Carla Conti as well, you know, and she's a much bigger price. Cross country, yeah, whatever. Champion Chase, yeah, Gaelic Warrior. Could go Ryanair, he could do. Again, it's another one that revolves around the ground. If there's good to soft in it, yeah, I'd give him little chance in a Champion Chase, and I think he'd go Ryanair. But if it comes up soft to heavy, this race it's going to set up for him. It is, you know, we've got Solness in there, the French horse could drop in here, you got Matata in here, there's going to be loads of pace on. If it comes up soft heavy and there's a load of pace on, that will be made for Gaelic Warrior. I guess the one thing he'd probably like a horse on his outside like he rode him last year, and maybe he'll get stretched, so he may find himself a little lonely, maybe. but you could see it setting up nicely for him. John Bon, I'm keen to take him on, but we need to see what lines up and what the ground is, don't we? And I'm not saying John Bon can't win, but at odds on, I wouldn't be playing him either. But maybe on the day it'll fall apart a little, and I think he's going to get it done. We'll see. Grand Annual, not thought much about that yet. The Bumpet, my dad says Bambino Fever, that'll do me. I did have a little bit on that Coca Cabana at tens. Quite a little. Jalon Duda is going to come here, isn't he? He's one you can get on side. He's top price 11s. If you get 10s non-run and no bet, I don't know without clicking on it, but he's probably going to go off half that price, So there's a lot you can do with the sort of cash outs and trade-ins and stuff when you're getting non-run and no bets. You can see some horses are overpriced. You can have a bit more on than you'd like and just trade them back for a free bet or whatever, There's many ways to play this game, there is. We're playing it the hardest way, I'd say. I don't like making life easy for myself. The Mares Novice, I really like 6.5. I do. It would just, I know I spoke a load about her, but I like how she's got that toughness from the flat. She's got big race experience in the fields and stuff. She jumped fine. I loved that how 3 out, it gave her a little shake and it's like she woke up and she was just there. She's going to stay strongly up that hill. She's got like 1 mile and 6 on the flat, but she's not slow either. I really like her. But again, the ground, if it come up soft heavy, she's quite small most of form. I think it was sort of soft last time or something like that. Maybe soft yielding to soft in places. She'd be alright on that, but if it gets any softer, then I think that would be a question mark, and it could well be, so that'd cool me on her, She'd be one you probably want a little bit of better ground for. Maureen, like Caroline Bamboo, big contender. I'd be against the English ones at the moment. Galileo Dame could come into this and get a nice sort of weight allowance. Not sure how good that form were in behind Hello Neighbour. I think he was just much better than them. But I like 6.5. But if it come up heavy, I'd have some serious doubts there. Jack Richards, Novice Handicap Chase. Now, I said all year, haven't I? We put him in the 10 to follow Waterford Whispers. I like him for this, but he's kind of gone AWOL since that last run. He needs to come out in the next week or two, or the next week, really. He'd be really long range fancy for this, but we need to see him again. I saw a stable thing with Gavin Cromwell, and right at the end, right, the interviewer asked him, "What's your best chance in handicaps?" I'm like, "Is he going to tell you, But he smiled, and he was next to this horse, and he says, that fella with the company sergeant, he's only had 1 run for Gavin. He got him from Hogan. He's got bits of nice form. He finished 6th behind Spillane's Tower at Fairy House in that Grade 1 last year. He's got some bits of nice form. He's rated 136 over chasers. His first run for Gavin, he ran in that valuable 2.5 mile in the Van Handicap Hurdle. They backed him into 3-2 on favourite, and he got beat just the length and 3/4 there. I think the interviewer guy asked him why him, and he says he thinks he's improved from his hurdle run, and then it cut out. He's like, stop talking. Now, I don't know, you know, to me, he's not going to come out and say now is the hour, because then the English handicapper might just give him 11 and knock him out. Whereas this fella's rated 136, and this was always well subscribed, this race, and there's no ceiling now. It could be he needs to go up a little bit just to get in the race, you know. So maybe he had that in his mind a little bit. You know, this is one I don't mind going up in the weights a bit, you know, for a run. And the other thing not sure about him is I didn't like how he held his tail when he came under pressure the last day. Now, maybe that's something Gavin's just sorted out and he's sweet on him now, I don't know. But my curiosity got the better of me, and I covered him like he's 16's non-run and no bet. And he's just the sort of horse, if he runs again, like I say, you can have a bit more than you want on him, and he'll end up single figures like if he turns up here. I'm nearly sure. But this is going to be a hot race, and I don't really want to commit just yet, especially with that. I just have that question mark on him under pressure. The attempts, yeah, not really gone into that. If the War Park turned up here, I think wherever the War Park goes, I'll probably back him, even if it's a stayers. I'll have a little bit on him, I think. Ryanair, yeah, we've got no betting this yet. Factor file. Again, it's very cloudy. We don't know what's going to run here. A Gaelic Warrior could turn up here. Spillane's Tower could turn up here. Factor file could. The French horse could. Yeah. Just don't know, do you? Found a 50 is much shorter for this. Maybe he'll come here. I don't know. El Fabiolo. It looks like the chances are you're going to get one or two sort of proper grade one class horses at the front of the market here. But which ones they are, I'm not quite sure. Like we said, we talked about it. I think Factor File should come here because, to be honest, I can't even see him placing in a Gold Cup, even in his 7 runners. I just don't think he's going to get the trip. I can see why they'd run him there, you know, if there's only 6 or 7 in it, but I think he could win this. Like, you know, he could become like an Allaho type horse. You know, he's got the potential to do that at this trip, I'd say, you know. And he was some horse, weren't he? So it's not all about the Gold Cup. If you end up with like an Allaho, it's fine, isn't it? You know, and he could be like that. He's got a way to go to get anywhere like that yet, but he's got that potential, hasn't he, there? Play, yeah, we'll skip past that. Kimura, yeah, back to normal's outfit season, isn't he? I was just starting to wonder how good is this horse, you know, is he like a graded horse at 3 mile? He could be. I just really like how he did it, but he's out for the season now. What else we got? I'll try to quicken this up a bit for you now. It's getting silly. Right, we haven't got too much more now. We'll just finish off. Triumph, we'll skip past that kind of for now. We're not really had a bet in it yet. Yeah, we'll talk about them another day. County, yeah, I did have a little bit of change on that. And Mullins also was talking about the ethical diamond one. Mares Chase. We haven't got bet in that yet, have we? Yeah, it's been too long now. Spindlebury's not been out again. I'd say it's looking doubtful now. So, soft heavy ground bioluminescence wins this. It's again, you don't know the ground here. Albert Bartlett, Yellow Clay said 5-1 looked nice for him, non-running no bet, and it weren't it? Yeah, he should have maybe backed him there and then, but had a lot to think about after Dublin. He's sort of 3s now, non-running no bet, so we might have missed the boat. Well, we have really with that. Yeah, I'm not really. When we play this race, I'm going to kind of keep Sans Victoria separate to this. He's like a little project on his own. I did say, didn't I, Bet Victor they had first four. They did have first four. They've gone first three now, but I logged in just to check. I didn't imagine that, and yeah, on my bet slip it says first four. So it were first four at the time, but they've cut it to first three now. Yeah, this I can see him hitting a frame, but he won't be my main bet. I'm going to put him up 1 point. Right, this is out of the blue for you. 1 point on Ballybow at 25's non-runner no bet. I had a bit of change on him. I kind of fell for him last time. I love his breeding. I do. I like him. He's down to run this Thursday in that Clonmel race. Mercedes-Benz 3 mile. I don't like Clonmel. I don't really like it as a prep, but some Cheltenham winners have come out of it in the past. 3 mile heavies, fair slogging it, but I think non-runner no bet. You kind of hope if things don't go well for him, he won't be there. So you get your money back, don't you? And he's 25s. Just that breeding, I like him. I think he could improve a lot for 3 miles. This Ballybow he could. So we'll have a point on him at 25s, non-runner no bet. The yellow clay comes here, he's the one to beat his, and the big Westerner, yeah, the right two horses at the front. Gold Cup, it's all about galloping, isn't it? All about galloping. And yeah, we'll finish off there. Sorry, I did keep you a bit too long there, I think. So we'll wind that up, okay? Right. So then this week we got national weights on Tuesday. Yeah, that should be interesting. That'll be fun, won't it? I know the way you're thinking. Let's hope. I think he's 160 in Ireland now. We don't really want to be getting any higher than that, hopefully. He'll play fair with our horse there. Yeah, Thursday Clonmel. Yeah, Ballygunny Castle's also in that race. We liked him as well. But yeah, we'll have a point. Ballybow, non-runner no bet 25s in that race. Weekend we've got Adoc, Ascot, Gowan, Punchestown, all good races there. Video with Mark off Cheltenham chat. Yeah, look, we'll try and make it happen. We will. You know what my production values are like. At least Mark makes a bit of an effort there. It looks a bit prettier, doesn't it? But I'd imagine we'll probably get something together. It might be just some crappy looking Zoom call type thing. I don't know. I'm sure we'll probably sort something out anyway. I've kept you way too long, alright, so I do appreciate that. Thanks for your time. All the best, and I'll see you again soon. Alright, bye.